share this one instead. Boom. 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 I gotta watch that Prentice movie. I think it's gonna be really good. I didn't want to watch it at first, but the clips I've seen has been pretty damn good. Okay, cool. Here it is. The Tesla boycott.
We're boycotting Tesla.
So Andrew is the host and main person at Channel 5 here, which you can see here at the bottom. They cover everything. They cover left, right, center, whatever, and they just let people talk. But then they explain things really, really well. And so I'm going to jump to this part of explanation, and I got to tell you, I don't think anybody. This is Andrew, by the way. So he's not your classic news host, but he's a really smart guy, and just has really great takes on things. Let me see if I can go back here. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is it. Check this out. This is really interesting.
Too have caught wind of the 10-year-old 4chan memes being posted by Elon on X and thought to
against a battle troll destroying our country because of social media.
All right, let's take a moment to talk about Elon Musk's radicalization that's being referenced in that interview, because I too have caught wind of the 10-year-old 4chan memes being posted by Elon on X and thought to myself, how the heck did that happen? Back in the day during the Obama era, I can remember when Elon Musk was a full-blown save the earth liberal and frequently secured massive government contracts from the Democrats, which he used to build eco-friendly cars and rockets.
I have a Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay, and I love it.
He was even tweeting in support of trans rights just a few years ago and vocally criticizing Trump.
He's not the right guy. He doesn't seem to have the sort of character that reflects well in the United States.
But like so many Americans, both left and right, 2020 broke him. Within 5 years of voting for Brandon, Elon would be tweeting things like pronouns suck and I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man. So how did that happen? The way I see it, it all goes back to the first stage of the COVID pandemic, which gave birth to the anti-lockdown Freedom March movement, which Elon was quite fond of.
Freedom! 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 Freedom!
Elon's first personal freedom outburst came on April 28, 2020, shortly after the Trump administration and Democratic government officials in California ordered the shutdown of American Tesla factories to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Tesla, which employs roughly 10,000 people at its Fremont plant, was initially forced to shut down.
Immediately, Elon tweeted in all caps, "Free America," became critical of lockdowns and began calling the government actions of Trump and Newsom fascist.
Musk telling investors the orders hinder people's freedom.
This is fascist. Give people back their goddamn freedom.
Though initially pro-lockdown,
we've made the decision to further toughen the guidelines and blunt the infection now.
Trump quickly capitalized on the growing unrest amongst freedom-hungry conservatives and staunchly positioned himself against the CDC and blue state governors in an obvious effort to court more votes for the upcoming election.
The Chinese virus.
Did you know there won't be any more COVID on November 4th? It'll be gone.
Still, throughout that election cycle, Elon stayed loyal to the Democrats and voted for Biden in 2020.
Biden won. Yes, I believe he won.
And you voted for him.
I did.
But things really heated up between Biden and Elon in 2021 after Biden held an electric vehicle summit and took the stage with the CEOs of both Ford and General Motors.
So this is where it all changed. This is where it all changed for Elon. First off, what do you think of Andrew and Channel 5? I think everybody should watch it because, you just, like you said, he kind of lays it out both sides. I believe Elon says, he says he's doing this stuff. I agree. I know it sounds crazy, but I believe it. I love seeing that. I love seeing all this cutting of the federal government. Love it. I'm here for it. I think it's awesome. Hey, I'm here. So hear this part, okay? So imagine you are literally the guy at this point who, once again, like I remember, like during Solana and like Tesla, like Obama loved them, and so, yeah, new shirt, thank you, Myron. Yeah, that's right. I don't think Carl is gonna make it on this episode. So. Yeah, I'm not gonna get all into it though, but let's keep going into this. boom, boom. This is where it messed up. This is where Biden messed up because he was a shell of a human at this point and just being moved from corporation to corporation, just like say this, say that. And then the labor unions got a hold of him and said, hey, you're not putting Tesla over here. Okay? Because they don't have a labor union. So will you say that the best EV vehicles are made in America from our company? Watch what they do.
Didn't invite Tesla.
Praising them as the leaders of electric vehicles, despite the fact that at that point, Tesla had made 115,000 EVs in America and General Motors had only made 26.
He never mentions Tesla, and that's got to be getting under Elon's skin.
You know, like Biden held this EV summit, didn't mention Tesla once, and praised GM and Ford for leading the EV revolution.
Biden never explicitly stated why Elon and Tesla were left out of the summit, but it likely wasn't about the mean tweets from the year before. Also invited to the summit and on stage was the UAW, or the United Auto Workers Union, the largest car manufacturer union in America, who work every single day to make sure that auto workers get fair pensions and wages.
They often did this through extreme hardship and sacrifice, sometimes at the expense of spilled blood.
Joe Biden is notably pro-union.
I'm proud to be the first president to walk a picket line.
And received large campaign donations from the Auto Workers Union, who'd recently tried and failed to unionize Tesla workers.
The United Auto Workers Union, or UAW, alleged that Tesla fired a worker for attempting to form a union.
Because of the company's immediate termination policy, Tesla is the only major auto manufacturer in the U.S. not represented by a single union, and their workers are paid significantly less than other rival car manufacturers, despite having reported unsafe workplace conditions on a consistent basis for the past 4 years.
Tesla factory workers in California are working so hard they're passing out on the production line.
Tesla employees say they were worked to exhaustion.
Former Tesla workers sued the company.
Approximately 50 workers were not adequately protected from excessive heat.
Inspectors found workers were exposed to hexavalent chromium.
He's always had a record of abusing workers. There are labor claims against him at the factory in Milpitas for excessive heat and putting workers into dangerous conditions.
Yet, without the ability to unionize and demand fair wages and conditions, these complaints have mostly died in the courts.
You know, Elon's sycophant. I'm not a sycophant for anybody. So my say is, we have checks and balances, right? We have courts, we have, the executive branch. Obviously the executive branch is all for him, but we have that's what's happening. Some things are stopping, some things are going. But I just love the fact, quite honestly, that somebody is coming in and going, how do we save money here? How do we, it's funny to me when people are like, but they want money, they want power. I'm like, you realize they won the game, right? They won the game of money and power. Like, whether you like it or not, they kind of won the game. The richest and most powerful. So they don't need any more. I guess they could solderize, if that's even a word, it all. But I'm just wanting peace, A, B, savings, and I don't know, and strongly disagree. I'm with you. There's a bunch of things I disagree with what they're doing. This is such a sticky back and forth thing. It's not a 100% thing I think about. But things are shaking up. Richest man in the world has made it known he'd like to be a trillionaire enough. Yeah, maybe. I think he was well on his way before he had the gig at Doge, though. And the people buying it's the irony of people continuing to buy his cars and then being mad at him. I don't know. Our top-heavy, inefficient government has become a running joke. It's not okay. Sorry if people lose jobs, but it's not. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's. I think whenever something becomes an adjective or a, kind of like, it's government, and it's going to be slow, and it's going to be maybe it's because I've been laid off a million times. I've been fired. I've gone through job. I just don't think anybody at a certain level should have a job always just because they are part of the federal government. You should just have a job always. It doesn't mean every person at the federal government is a good person. Like, it doesn't mean everybody's a bad person. That's a total 100% good, point, but I don't think anything has been lost yet, right? And that's part of like what I'm trying to work on myself is to not like to say, okay, what's being, I don't believe corporate media, this entire channel that I'm creating here is to take a jab at corporate media, to what they're doing. I've been so burnt. We've all been burnt. We're just machines feeding this thing. And so everything I do here, I'm trying to take and make it, comedy and different things. But like all the jokes towards Biden, let's see here. But it doesn't mean every federal employee's lady shit like is being pandemic. I agree. And I think that's the conversation. Like, I agree. I don't think anything is like 100%. I see some things, I'm like, what? But remember what was happening before. Nothing. Like, there's not another option. There's not another option right now. Like, I would love to. I know, oh, here's another option. Like, I don't know. I just don't see many of them. Department of Education handles the state mandates for autism service. If it goes, which it will, states will pull coverage, not just fear-mongering. Hey, that's a great point, DTF. That's a great point. DTF and doesn't see people like losing support. It's like the leeches that are working their way through the system. I don't know what that means. People taking advantage of jobs, not doing their fair share of work. Happens even at the lowest of, no doubt it happens. Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't think, and of course, obviously, this is your business, and I don't think federal funding, like, luckily, you know what? Obviously, I want every kid who needs some help to get help, and that's what hopefully will part of this will happen. And I think a lot of people are freaking out right now over a lot of things that have never, and I'm not talking about you, but just like in general, have never made a deal before. Never gone through some bullshit, and no, like, it gets bumpy. It gets bumpy before it gets better, and I didn't like the status quo before in most every general term, in the sense of how people live in their lives, our government. I haven't liked it. That doesn't fall down a party line to me. That just is an overall general feeling that I have. And nobody before was going to look at it and kind of figure some stuff. I would hope that maybe we get better and more efficient, and the funds can get delivered better to those families instead of waiting for a check. I don't know. I am an optimist. I'm trying to look at all things through a half glass full. I could say that for many years, maybe I was looking at things through a not half glass full. And I don't see IEPs going away. I don't see that happening. I don't think that we're going to regress because that would be a huge backlash. When you're dealing with ultra narcissistic, extreme personality disorder people, like the majority of people who enter politics have, okay, left, right, center, up, and down, and of course the person that goes for the presidency, they have the ultimate. It's an individual education plan, and those are mostly for children in the school system that have different things that are different forms of on the spectrum and autism, different things, right? And it's a very specific thing because that kind of shows your way through the educational system, the public education system, and that's something I learned when I was on the board of charity for kids on the spectrum. That's something, of course, that if they pulled federal funding for kids, I would be irate. Most people would. But once again, I don't think that has happened yet. So, not talking about funding again, talking about just 10 years ago, people who didn't have insurance that covered autism. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that's a good one too. The pre-existing conditions. So, hey, look, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but this is how I hope to talk about things that are touchy. is to actually have a conversation about it. I'm not going to get upset either way. That's what I used to do. I used to get really emotionally charged about these things. And then I realized, like, oh, the game's just a game, guys. And they're saying things and they're doing things in order to make you go one way or the other. And that's how the game started in 1776 and how it's always been. And so I'm not going to allow that to, mess up what we got going here, which is like the nicest. Yeah, when you really put it out there, it is a bit crazy how many things are paid for. And it's like, I wonder if we're even going to have it. Yeah, no, that's true. That's another one. But, we shall see. Let's see here. What was that last part? We were going to do, you know what? That's it. I think we ended on almost on this that's how this show can go sometimes.